first line you have on your left is real, that's real property. Then the second one is the personal property. That's where our discussion will be. When the city was being incorporated in 2017, all real and personal properties were within those boundaries. But we have properties being moved into other jurisdiction. So I wanted to take you back in that second line so you can see 2017, we had a personal property 1.1 billion. 1.1. So it's 1,134,210,892. That's in 2017. In 2018, personal property were reduced. If you go in the 2018 column, you find out that it moved from 1.1 billion in 908 million. And that's a reduction of 225,537,422 value of personal property went out of the city of South Fulton. If you take 2018 into 2019, in 2019, again, there was a reduction from 908 million of 2018 into 647,155,963 in 2019. And that was a reduction. And in 2020, if you get into column of 2020, second line, second row, it's 516,169,211, moving from 647 of the previous year. So if you add all of those from 2017 through to 2020, we started with 1.1 billion, and in 2020, we are 516. That's a total loss of 618 million worth of personal property moving out of state of South Fulton into neighboring jurisdiction.
Well, I think you've made a case for whatever it is. We're not talking about thousands of dollars here. We're talking about millions of dollars. I'm sure me and my colleagues are very anxious to hear what the tax assessors people have to say. So I would go directly to his comment.
On your first question about the boundaries, you are correct about the boundaries themselves have not changed. But what happens is personal property is reported to us on returns that we send out annually to the taxpayers. Since the incorporation, the city of South Fulton retained the tax district of 55, which was everything that was unincorporated in Fulton County at the time of incorporation. And so when a lot of those companies send us their report, they're still listing their returns as in 55. And my staff has to go through and determine whether it is in the right tax district or not. And what we have found in all of the incorporations since I've been here over 20 years is that it takes a few years to make sure that you get all of that personal property listed on our digest in the correct jurisdiction. And that is what has happened here, and that's what's happened with other incorporations as well, is when we realize that we are taxing a particular business in one district, and it really, according to their address, should be in another. Now, personal is a lot different from real estate in that real estate is sitting on the ground and it has a parcel number attached to it. And that parcel number, we definitely know which district that parcel is in. But the personal property are account numbers that are not tied to those parcel numbers. 99% of those are in that area of the Fulton County Airport, where there are a lot of high dollar planes that are actually in the Fulton Industrial District. There are two different account numbers. The real estate is a real property parcel number. The personal property is an account number that we assign for that particular address. And so we have to manually go in and put those in the right district. For instance, I'm looking on this spreadsheet that I sent Mr. Milazi, and
Yes,
I have 4 airplanes here that total $110 million that were moved from 55 to 70. That's just 4 airplanes. Throughout the last few years, that's where most of that change has come from.
I don't understand. I'm a bit confused. And when you're talking about millions of dollars, I get even more confused. But at the time of incorporation, was our finance department made aware of this fact?
Well, no, at the time of incorporation, we made an attempt to make sure that we could pull them in the right district. But of course, we were not able to do all of them.
Let's go back. 2017, I'm a city. Was anyone in Fulton County said, be aware now that you are a city, but this could possibly happen to your personal property as we go in and make adjustments, and this is how we done it. Did anyone say that?
That I don't know. We originally realized it when, like I said, we were looking at the street names and trying to assign it by the street names, but we also have to look at the address, because that actual place that it's sitting on the ground, that business sitting on the ground, could be in one district or the others. And so that's how some of them were missed.
When does it stop? I mean, we're making forecasts as to how our budgets are going to be. And, with this particular deal, when does it stop? When would you have all of the parcels that you need to have in Fulton Industrial, so we can come back with what we look for on our budgets?
Well, one of the things that we're going to do this year is to do an in-depth audit on those, on all of those parcels in that corridor, to make sure that we have them all, and if there are any that need to change, that we can identify those and let you know of any that will be changing for next year. But that's one of our main goals. Do also realize that you will also have parcels, and this just happens annually, where a business may be in South Fulton today, and then they notify us next year that, hey, we moved to Sandy Spring. And so we have to move it out. So it's gonna happen. It won't happen as drastically as the numbers that you see now.
Do any of these lower collections have to do with the exemptions that we have passed?
I was going to add that. Realize that you have added some new exemptions since your incorporation. That is gonna that reduces your overall income. And so another big hit that you had was once you added that Freeport exemption along with those other homestead exemptions, that makes your overall collection low. That is completely separate from this personal property issue that we're talking about, but it is in conjunction with that, because once you add those additional exemptions, then you have to account for that in your estimation and your budgeting.
And I would love in some future meetings to just see how much of a difference those are making, so that as we consider homestead exemptions in the future, we have some sort of historical data to show this is the impact that the last set had. Are there any, I understand that there are properties that are coming out of our city. Are there any that are coming into our city? I'm thinking namely of the hotel on Ella Lane, the Fairfield Inn and Suites. There was a moment when people didn't know what part of that was, whether that parcel was in the city of South Fulton or not, and then we found out that it was. So I'm just wondering, are any of these errors happening in our favor?
Yes, they are. And on the spreadsheet that I sent there, you can also see the list of parcels that we've added into the city as well.